Bien, chicos, ahora nos toca el condicional, página 288. Bien, los tiempos del indicativo son varios. Este es un resumen: presente, presente perfecto, pretérito, imperfecto, pluscuamperfecto, futuro, futuro perfecto y ahora el condicional. Vamos a ver cómo se usa y también se llega a la conjugación. Formas del condicional. Aquí tenemos verbos regulares. Por ejemplo, vamos a ver. Destacar becomes destacaría. ¿Ya? Defender, defendería. Invadir, invadiría. If you notice, the ending is very similar to the imperfect tense, but there is a difference. Here, acá tenemos destacar. We don't need to drop the AR to attach IA. All you have to do is add it. IA. Destacar, destacaría. Same thing with ER and IR verbs. You don't need to drop the AR, ER, or IR. All you have to do is attach IA. But we have also some irregular in the conditional. Decir becomes diría. Haber becomes habría. Hacer, haría. Poder, podría. Poner, pondría. Querer, querría. Double R. Saber, sabría. Salir, saldría. Tener, tendría. Y venir, vendría. Bien, all you have to do is remember the irregulars, which are these ones, this chart. And if they are not irregular, all you have to do is follow this rule. Bien, attach IA at the end. Usos. Página 289. El condicional en español se usa en los siguientes casos. Acciones hipotéticas. Normally se incluye el if, which is si without the accent mark clause. And they have the rigid structure, just like in English. Si plus imperfect subjunctive plus conditional. Imperfect subjunctive is the last topic that we just saw in the first part of this chapter, in the last video. But now we need to add the conditional. For example, si tuviera tiempo, if I had time, coma, tomaría clases de tango. If I had time, I would take tango classes. That's how we use it. Conditional with the past subjunctive. In this case, imperfect subjunctive. As in English, the order of the clauses is interchangeable. You can use, as long as the if goes with the imperfect subjunctive, that's okay. You can place it at the beginning or at the end. Si tuviera tiempo, tomaría clases de tango. Or tomaría clases de tango si tuviera tiempo. Bien, when you use the if and the imperfect subjunctive at the beginning, you require the comma. If it's the other way around, you don't need the comma. Okay? Acá. The imperfect subjunctive in a C clause does not refer to the past action, but to the unlikely or impossible event in the present. Of course, we are talking about if I had time. Yeah, it's not about the past, it's about a situation that is not happening at the moment, an impossible event in the present, because I don't have the time. I'm telling you that I don't have time, that's why I can't take tango classes. Okay, the C clause may be implicit in an earlier question or statement, or a similar premise may be presented in a different format. For example, ponte en el lugar de los indígenas. ¿Cómo te sentirías? In this case, it's telling you, put yourself in the place of the indigenous people. How would you feel? So it's implied that the message is if you were one of them, si tú fueras indígena. You don't need to say it because it's implied. Another situation or another example. Yo no sé qué haría en esta situación. I don't know what I would do in that situation. It's implied that you're saying also, if I were there, right? If I were in that situation, si yo estuviera. So sometimes you don't need to use the imperfect subjunctive because it's implied, like in these two situations. Bien, vamos a ver, nota lingüística. Y aquí tenemos también algunas reglas And then that's it for this video. Dice, cláusula con sí en el indicativo. Sí plus present indicative makes a present indicative, future, or imperative. Vamos a ver. Dice, C clause in the indicative expresses the hypothetical situation that takes place the modo rutinario, I don't know how to say this word in English, or are likely to occur, just like in English. Let's take a look at the example. Si tienes tiempo, present tense, indicative, tomas clases de tango, right? If you have time, you take tango classes in the present tense. Now, you can say also, using the past subjunctive here, si tomaras clases de tango, sorry, si tienes tiempo, tomarás clases de tango. Future, sorry, this is future, tomarás. You will take tango classes. Si tienes tiempo, toma clases de tango. Imperative. So we have the present in the first one, future, tomarás, and imperative. Toma, command. Bien. So we use the C, the if also in these three situations. We're talking about only the C for now, the if. Also, we use the C plus the imperfect indicative and imperfect indicative makes it imperfect indicative. In this case, let's see an example. In this case, C is the equivalent to cuando, and it refers to the repeated actions in the past. It works in the same as in English. For example, si tenías tiempo, tomabas clases de tango. If you had time, you took tango classes. Bien, si plus imperfect indicative. The imperfect indicative, not subjunctive. Si tenías tiempo, then we use the imperfect indicative. Tomabas clases de tango. Here is the example. So we use also the if in this situation as well. Ojo, the present subjunctive is never used in the si clause. We never say si present, si tenga, for example, si tenga tiempo, never, never. We need to use the imperfect subjunctive with the si or any other these tenses. Bien, present indicative, future imperative. Bien, that's all for this rule. Now let's go to the next situations when we use the imperfect subjunctive. Future in the past. Sorry, talking about the conditional now. The conditional. The conditional is used to express a future action with respect to another action in the past. Very important. Let's take a look at one example here. Future in the past. Yeah, it sounds confusing, but let's take a look. Colón le dijo a la reina Isabel que encontraría un camino más corto a Asia. Bien, Colón le dijo, past tense. Columbus told the Queen Isabella that he would find a shorter route to Asia. Ok, Colón le dijo a la reina Isabel que encontraría un camino más corto a Asia. So we're talking about the future in the past. I told someone in the past that I was going to do something in the future. That future is the conditional, encontraría. Bien. Again, when we talk about the future in the past, we need to use the conditional. That's the example. Bien. Another situation, courtesy, with certain verbs like poder, querer, ser, estar, deber, y tener. The conditional adds courtesy to a request or a question, like the other video when we use the imperfect subjunctive. ¿Podría decirme la hora? Could you tell me the time? ¿Le gustaría o querrían acompañarnos a cenar? Would you like to accompany us for dinner? Conditional. Bien, we also use the imperfect subjunctive for courtesy, if you remember the last video. Okay, and the last thing to remember, probability in the past. This use of the conditional is equivalent to I wonder and probably. It is the past counterpart of the probability future. If you remember the future, uses of the future, very similar. ¿Dónde estaría Manuel ayer durante la fiesta? I wonder where Manuel was yesterday during the party. Tendría un partido de béisbol. He probably had a baseball game. Probabilidades en el pasado. We use also the conditional. Okay, chicos, that's all for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Gracias. Chao.